This is what silence sounds like. Somewhere between the hush of day and the whisper of night, the world exhales. The sky bruises gold. Present, true. It's the stillness in your chest, the cool hush of water at your feet. For once, you don't need to move or speak, you just are. What if this is where you finally rest?
All right, so hello. Hi. How's everybody out there doing today? It is, of course, your boy Volandis back with yet another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a set of lenses that I've had for a really long time, but I'm now just getting around to making a review about them. And that is the Thypoch Simera C cine lenses. So for anybody who's not tapped in, Thypoch is a sister brand to DZO, which is the lenses that I use for quite literally everything else that I shoot on this channel and everything else that I shoot for anything. I have a DZO lens on this K3 right here. I have two other DZO lenses sitting on my desk. So I'm all in when it comes to DZO and just the things that they do because I love the look of these lenses. And honestly, for these Thypoch lenses, I share the same sentiments. But in this video, I am here to talk about the lenses overall and just my experience with them and who I think they're for. Now, if you've ever bought an expensive Leica camera but didn't have the money to also buy an expensive Leica lens, then you probably know a little bit about Thypoch because they were making M-mount still lenses before they got around to making these Simera C lenses. I've been running around shooting multiple things with these lenses. I just shot a short film called You Got the Coke. You can go watch that on my second channel, but I shot the entire thing with these lenses with the exception of like two very wide shots. But outside of that, everything else was shot with these lenses. I've also have been shooting my friends and just some other little small projects that I've been working on, especially a bigger project that I'm working on that's going to be really special to me. I shot with some of these lenses. And with that, I have the 28mm, which I am filming on right now. I also have the 35, the 50, and the 75. Now, Thypoch sent me these lenses back when I was in the height of my kind of chemo regimen and going through all of the stuff that I had to deal with when I got diagnosed with leukemia. So it's been quite a while since I've had these lenses. But just right off the bat, the things that I just initially love about these lenses is just how small they are. It'd be times where I would just go out with just these lenses and my FX3 all in just a small bag. And honestly, it was one of the lightest ways that I've ever traveled or moved around with my equipment ever, which I love. And you guys know that I've mentioned this before because I really value it. But if you're going out in public or into public spaces with a camera and you don't want too much attention or eyes on you, then traveling with this camera like the FX3 or a small camera and these lenses is amazing. Now, with my experience shooting with these lenses, I don't have a ND filter that fits the thread of these lenses. Now, I do believe that the 28mm and the 75mm have a different filter thread than the 35 and 50. So if you do use screw-on ND filters, that could be a pain, and I can see how that would be probably pretty frustrating trying to change those out while you're out shooting. Now, luckily for me, and because I didn't want to deal with that at all, I didn't use lens filters at all. But I also think that's a plus because I was able to run through all of the different apertures and just see how these lenses look at every single aperture in different conditions and different type of lighting and just like with different subjects. So I think that was a plus and I was happy to do that. Speaking of using all of the apertures on these lenses go down to 1.5, which honestly I think is insane for a cinema lens. I haven't really used too many cinema lenses that go down to 1.5. That's more of a photography lens type of thing in my opinion, or just in my experience with the lenses that I've used. But these lenses going down to 1.5 clearly makes them valuable if you're shooting in lower light conditions, or if you just want that super blurry background. Me personally, I didn't shoot with these lenses much or even at all at 1.5. I think I shot with them once, or just did one shot with them at 1.5, just so I'll have a shot at 1.5 for this video. And honestly, they look pretty good at 1.5, decently sharp, and the image fall off is pretty nice. Now I will say you do get some vignetting when you start to shoot at these lower apertures on these lenses, but all in all, I think they add good characteristics to the image that you're seeing.
What if I took all of it away?
Now close your eyes and imagine a neon sign flickering, that buzz, that hum, alive in the dark. A doctor's waiting room, magazine pages fluttering, phones ringing, typing, and the constant tick of a clock. A warehouse bathroom, the hollow ventilation, a slow drip from the sink. The sounds of nature and what it feels like to be truly free. Someone lighting a cigarette in the parking lot, the flicker from the lighter, or the soft hum from the engine of the car. Standing in the neighborhood alley, the birds singing, someone mowing their lawn in the distance, or a flag waving in the wind, the vibrations from the flagpole, the fabric snapping in the wind. Now what if I took it all away? Would you still feel it? That's the power of sound, an epidemic sound. They have every texture that you need, the hums, the risers, the transitions, the tiny details that make your visuals live and feel alive. Because silence is just a canvas, and epidemic sound paints the world around it. Click the link in my description to sign up to Epidemic Sound and start creating worlds instead of just living in them. Now, something I don't love about shooting with budget cinema lenses is that a lot of them have a heavy, this is a budget cinema lens look. Like, I feel like they lean very into a particular look, and I don't really necessarily know how to explain it, but sometimes it almost looks as if you might be shooting with a budget cinema lens, if that makes sense. I say that to say that I shot with these lenses alongside the DZO lenses, and it wasn't much of a difference in image. And the look of them wasn't so heavy that you were able to noticeably see a difference between the two lenses, even though they do have some noticeable difference. Now, I do think the look of these lenses definitely lean more vintage, which you guys know I am really into. They definitely have some character, which I'm really into. They have subtle halation with some gentle flares. I think the flares are really nice on these. I never necessarily even talk or care about the flaring of lenses, but I accidentally got a flare shot, or a shot with some flares in it with these lenses, and I thought it was extremely beautiful. They have a slightly lower contrast, especially when wide open, which is nice for me because I like to add contrast in post, and I don't really necessarily want my lenses to do all of the heavy lifting when it comes to that. The bokeh is smooth, it's not swirly or super aggressive, but it also just gives you this soft and almost nostalgic feel without being overly kind of mushy. But I will say that at 1.5, and I feel like any lens shot at a low aperture like this, it gets a little mushy in the out of focus parts, in my opinion. But also like the glow that these lenses give the image when you do shoot at those lower apertures. I think right now I'm shooting at 2.8, I do believe, and I just love the way this scene looks with everything that's going on, from the light and the image fall off, and we got some smoke over here, and just like it's lighter back there than it is in here, and I just love what the lenses are doing to the image. Now, these lenses are M mount. I've personally never shot with any lenses on my Sony camera that were M mount. I do think that making these lenses M mount is kind of a rare choice for cine lenses, but at the same time, I think it's a major plus and it adds value. Now, M mount gives you a shorter flange distance, which makes these lenses incredibly adaptable. You can throw them on a Leica M body clearly, but if you're a hybrid shooter and you use multiple different cameras like Sony, RF, or even L mount, these are perfect because then you're not locked into just one ecosystem, and the flexibility alone puts them ahead of a lot of other compact cine glass. Now, these lenses are set at $699 to $799 depending on the focal length that you get, which puts a set of these lenses under $3,000. Now, there's been a lot of times that I've called lenses cheap, and we've had to have some back and forth or some conversations on what is considered cheap. But I think that when we're talking about something that is usually very expensive, especially considering what you get, $699 or $799 for a cine lens is definitely a better price than $1,200 or even $20,000, $5,000 for any other lens that you'll get that can do the same exact things. Now, I will say this is a cheaper cine lens, so it is going to have some things that are cheap about it, or things that you may not get with other cine lens at a higher price. One thing being the focus breathing. Me personally, I don't necessarily care too much about focus breathing because a lot of times I'm doing a lot of these videos by myself, especially if I'm filming myself. I'm not doing too much focus racking. I will say that the focus breathing on these are a bit dramatic. You can definitely see the zooming in and zooming out from what's in focus to what's out of focus, which in my opinion can be a little distracting depending on what the focus, like what the scene is. But at the same time, I feel like some people like that and they kind of like the look of that. So I can't really say that it's a good or bad thing. And also when you're shooting with a cheaper lens and also lenses designed by a company that was making photography lenses, it's almost kind of expected and just something to not necessarily complain about. But this isn't a rental house set of lenses. This is a buy them, beat them up, use them, and go out and shoot with them set of lenses, which in my opinion is perfect for independent filmmakers like myself, travel filmmakers, and anybody who wants to get some good quality images without having to hit a chiropractor after the shoot. But with that being said, I do have a full breakdown on my Patreon of the behind the scenes shoots and kind of just some more of that, just not necessarily really overly stylized look of these lenses and just other stuff. So if you want to go check that out, please hit the link in my description for that because it's there. And if you just want to see me kind of talk about the shoots, my thought processes, and just like what goes into some of the shoots that I do, all of that is over there on the Patreon. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, got something out of it. If you did not, I do very much apologize. But with that being said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, I'm not talking to you because you already did what you had to do. Also, with that being said, go over and sign up for the Patreon. We're going to be getting that up and running and just more stuff on there as the weeks come, because I've been filming a lot, and just doing a lot, getting prepared for that and just dropping on that, and more videos for the YouTube and stuff as well. Also, go check out the new You Got the Coke video on Lova. But anyway, yeah, with all of that being said and all that promotional stuff being done, let's get out of here, man. Let's go do some shit. You know the vibes. Let's get it. And also, I want to mention really quick that from July 15th to August 20th, customers who purchase a full set of 5 Simera C lenses from the official store will receive a free Tilta Nano Follow Focus system. So if that sounds enticing to you, you know what to do. Head over to Thypoch.